So I had received a particular comment under one of my videos that I made a while back during the airing of The Boyfriend season 1, right? I was tearing into Shun and Dai, like the whole thing that they were going through. I could not stand the dynamic between them. I made several videos about it. Didn't really care for the pairing, those two together, and I was like, I don't think those two are gonna last. I thought eventually Dai would lose his patience, but somebody made sure to comment under one of my videos that, haha, Dai and Shun are still together. Now, I did respond to them. I was just like, yo, just so you know, I don't consider longevity a sign of a successful relationship. We actually don't know how the relationship is going. So you being like, haha, they're still together. For me, that's not a win. Sometimes people decide that they're going to fight for who they want, regardless of what that person does to them. And hey, whatever they got going on in their relationship is what they got going on. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying that we don't know everything about their relationship. And only based on what I watched will I say that everything was absolutely unacceptable. There's no world in which I will take back what I said about season 1 on TikTok. I'm wondering if I should put those videos on here so people on here can get a good idea of like how I was feeling about season 1, but we'll see. I never did finish watching season 1, but somebody did ask me in the comment section. They were like, hey, can you review season 2? So here I am, reviewing season 2. Somebody mentioned on my other TikTok that season 2 was quite boring, but if I could go without all the drama in season 1, I'm okay with that. I would love for things to like run much smoother, but I guess I have to wait and see if that's actually true. Like, is season 2 less dramatic than season 1? I only watched one episode and all the guys seem pretty great, seem pretty chill. Nobody seems problematic yet. This video is just going to be me reviewing the cast, at least the cast that's been introduced so far, because I saw somebody that had an unfamiliar face when I was looking up pictures of the cast of season 2. I'm wondering if he's going to be introduced in episode 2 or later on in the show. I don't know. There's only like 6 episodes out as of me recording this, so I'm kind of excited, you know? The cast looks really awesome. Before we get started, I'll give a little introduction. My name is Savette. On this channel, I'm going to be reviewing like a different variety of shows. I think I've capped how many shows that I'm supposed to be reviewing, because it's bad, guys. I be starting reviews and like not finishing them, and I'm going to try to stick it out with these couple of shows I've chosen to review. So yeah, let's talk about it now. Let's talk about the cast of The Boyfriend season 2 and what I think about them. The first guy we're going to get started with is Hue. I find Hue the most attractive in the house. Not just physically attractive, but in general, he seems to hold a lot of duality. Like, he can be social, but he can also be quiet. He's hardworking, attractive, intelligent, and he has a nice build. The energy he gives off is both mature and kind of youthful at the same time. Like I said, to me, he's the most attractive person in the house, but I am biased, putting the gay aspect aside, right? This archetype usually will catch my attention. Of course, I'll have to wait and watch more episodes to see what he's really about. I think he's pretty cool so far. I'm typically going to be attracted to this type of person. I assume him being a non-Japanese Asian, like not even being half Japanese, already narrows down the choices in the house. But I hope him being physically attractive, a decent age for serious dating, and insanely ambitious will be in his favor. Like, with as much screen time as he got in episode 1, I hope he's able to connect with a few people in the house. Not my favorite person, but the most attractive person out of the entire cast to me personally. But not my favorite because I haven't watched enough episodes to know if he's going to be like my favorite of the cast just yet. Next you have Jobu. He is 26. He's very cool and laid back. He feels very Osaka. So when he was like, oh, you know, I'm from Osaka, I was like, that actually tracks, especially with the style. I know he was talking to another cast member about Kansai dialect, and I found it very fascinating because I didn't know that Kansai-ben was something you could just turn off and on. Like, does the accent go away too, or does the accent remain but you're speaking standard Japanese with a Kansai accent? I don't know, but I like the way that Kansai dialect sounds, so maybe at some point we'll get to hear him speak more. You know, I can only really tell the difference alongside standard Japanese. I can just tell that there's something a little different. But for the most part, Jobu is a blank slate. He's really, really cute. He seems pleasant. I just don't have much to say about him after episode 1. Next we have Bomi. Not too much to say about him yet either. I feel like Bomi makes a good first impression. He's likable, he's well-mannered, and I like the way he dresses. I think the way he dresses suits him very well. His voice and demeanor are both attractive, but I don't know how much this type of guy will stand out in this type of show. Despite being pretty social, from what I've seen in episode 1, I fear Bomi might be on the sidelines of things. It may seem crazy to say this early on, but romantics who wish to encounter a pure love and connection with the particular demeanor that he has. You know, we're only going based on what I've watched, but usually these types of people will privately pine after someone they like without speaking up, unless they know for sure that person only has eyes for them. So I don't know, this show doesn't necessarily seem like the best environment to cultivate a pure romance, but hey, maybe Bomi will gain something else from this experience. Also, he feels older than 23. He feels very late 20s. I don't know why. And yeah, that's all I have to say. Although I don't see him as the type to pair with anyone unless he's the only one that has their attention. Like, I don't see him confessing. He seems pretty cool. I like him. He seems like a cool dude. Next we have Izaya. I was not surprised to hear Izaya is looking for a serious partner because he carries the energy of someone who is ready to settle down. He just reminds me of marriage and like serious partnership. He seems very sweet and inwardly sensitive. Of course, this is all just speculation, the sensitivity part. But what I get from him now is that he is a good man with a good life. All he is missing is an equally successful, mature, and grounded partner, which is never how things play out. Usually these types of people end up craving like a spicy and wild counterpart to excite their lives. I know it's too soon to speak for Izaya in particular, but he kind of reminds me of someone, and with him it's like what you need is a grounded person like yourself, but you're so attracted to emotionally unavailable people, flighty people, grandiose people. Like, you're already such a great package. Go find a grounded partner. Anyways, that's who Izaya reminds me of. He reminds me of somebody in particular, but of course I have only watched episode 1, so I don't know if he's like that at all. I will be talking about his reveal that him and William used to date, but for the most part, I'm worried for him. He looks like he's ready for a relationship, but a lot of people who have this type of demeanor end up craving something that makes their lives more exciting because they're so put together. Does that make sense? It's like opposites attract. And now let's talk about Hiroya. I really like Hiroya's voice, and I have similar things to say about him as I did Bomi. Did I talk about liking Bomi's voice? Because I guess I like both their voices. They both have very nice voices. I like Hiroya because even though he seems to have a low opinion of himself, he is not too quiet and still puts himself out there socially. For someone who says he's been neglecting his socializing, he is really good at holding conversations. And similar to Bomi, I do see Hiroya as being the quiet piner type of person, like someone who will like someone but keep it private. Keep it private forever if they don't know for sure if that person likes him back. I see him as that type of person. I would love to see Hiroya have more confidence, especially since he doesn't seem to suffer from social awkwardness. At least when he's holding a conversation, the conversation isn't awkward. I don't know what goes on like inside of him. Because, you know, sometimes you feel awkward even though in actuality you're not awkward, right? I want him to have more confidence, but at the same time, I understand that confidence is a muscle that's normally based on life experience, right? If people haven't been breaking down your door to get to you, of course you're going to be like, well, I'm not this. Well, I'm not that. Do they really mean something by this? Like, I know the commentators were saying, Hiroya, why are you being so negative? I wouldn't be surprised if Hiroya is the way he is because of his life experiences. Many gay spaces can be very superficial about looks, even if you aren't a bad looking person. And with Hiroya, I just think he needs encouragement and positive experiences for growth. Being confident and being earnest may not make you the hottest person in the world, but it certainly makes you even more attractive when you're already starting with a decent base. I mean, come on, Hiroya is not a bad looking dude. I don't know about partnership in this show, right? But I hope Hiroya can form some solid friendships. More than anything, I see this show as social growth for him, and I I hope he gains a lot from the experience. Here we have William. He is half Japanese, half Peruvian, if I'm not mistaken. He was talking about his dad being from Peru, and then he said he came back to Japan to get in touch with his roots, so I'm assuming his mother was Japanese. If he's not half, let me know. Sometimes the mixes mix so well and it's like, what are you? Anyways, I'm gonna state the obvious. Clearly this man is visually pleasing to look at, but in a nah-duh kind of way. In a beard commercial kind of way. In a I know this makes the gays go goo goo gaga type of way. Disruptive. Honestly, I haven't formed an extensive opinion of William yet. Too soon for that, but I did kind of roll my eyes because it's like, clearly majority of the people in the house are going to be drawn to this man. Like when he walked in, I was like, oh. And it's not his fault for being hot and having a nice body. It is what it is, but yeah. I don't know, for me it's aggravating. It's like, come on. William is handsome and carries himself well. I do wonder, based off of some of the things I saw in episode 1, I wonder about his capacity to express heavy emotion, but other than that, I haven't much to say about him, except he looks pretty good. Nice smile, nice hair ratio on his face, his eyes light up. He's a handsome dude. And last but not least, we have Kazuyuki. He was not in episode 1 very long, so for me, he is the blankest slate out of everybody else in the house. There's nothing that I have to say about this man except the fact that sometimes you have older people that can blend in with younger people because they feel youthful themselves. Then you have older people who do feel older. With Kazuyuki, he does give off an older vibe based off of seeing him for the first time and hearing him speak, right? I don't know how well he'll be able to mesh with people as far as like being a potential partner, but he seems like a good guy, and he did mention wanting to get other things out of this experience, so I hope this experience gives him what he's looking for. I know many of them did watch the first season and were super inspired by how it went. A lot of them are here for more than dating. They're here for the whole experience in general. So Kazuyuki, can't wait to learn more about him, and that is the end of all of the cast members. I am going to talk more about Isaiah and William's relationship. You know, that bomb was dropped on us at the end of episode 1. I understand this is just episode 1, and I don't know if you guys are going to appreciate my opinion on this, considering this is probably going to be a non-issue in the future episodes, but at the end of episode 1, Isaiah reveals that he and William dated in the past, and that when he brought up taking their relationship further, William completely disappeared. First, I want to express how incredibly hurtful that must have been, like especially with no closure. I mean, this isn't a random person that you've only known for a few days. Imagine dating someone for months and then they just disappear without a word. I do think there's nuance. There are some instances where ghosting is redeemable, but if you're capable of disappearing from the life of someone you've been seeing for a few months, especially right after they've opened up their heart and earnestly communicated their feelings, that shows just how little you value them over your own sense of discomfort and awkwardness. You may value them a little bit, but not over your own sense of discomfort and awkwardness, right? Not to mention, you're helping instill a fear into that person that as soon as they open up to a partner, that partner will leave them, thus making it harder for them to be honest and navigate intimate relationships in the future. And the most annoying thing about finding out William and Isaiah used to date is it might throw a wrench into the possibility of both of them being able to romantically connect with anybody else in the house. I mean, imagine being on a show like this with a man who ghosted you, never gave you any closure, and he's just talking to you normally as if none of it ever happened. Personally, even if William wasn't in the house, I couldn't see Isaiah matching with anyone else. I think he requires someone more international and well-traveled, but I still don't like the setup of him being around an ex who ghosted him. In comparison, I'm sure William will be fine. I'm sure that man will be fine. The man's hot. He'll be fine. I don't know what the deal's going to be. I actually think they're going to remain pretty cordial because I've heard, based on some of the insight I got from the first season, that relationship dynamics are different with gay men. Hopping in and out is very common. And I know I sound like I'm complaining a lot, but I do want to add one more thing. While we're at it, let's talk about the marriage conversation that William brought up while they were on the rooftop in the heated pool, right? On the surface, I enjoyed the conversation because of the topic. It's a valuable conversation to have, like the idea of not seeing gay marriage around you, cutting off your desire to even envision that type of partnership for yourself. And then you go somewhere where gay marriage is more common and that desire to be married rises within you. That conversation I appreciated hearing, But given what information we were presented with at the end of the episode about William and Isaiah dating, it made that conversation even more sensitive. I don't know if William just brought up that conversation for a friendly chat, or hey, maybe that conversation was meant to communicate his thought process before leaving Japan. Like, hey, before going to Spain and seeing serious married couples, I couldn't really envision it. So yeah, that's why I was ghosting folks. Either way, that's pretty crazy. Initiating that type of conversation directly with someone you ghosted the moment they tried discussing taking the relationship to the next level. And of course, I don't know the specifications of what Isaiah and William's relationship was like, but my assumption was they were dating unseriously, you know, still messing with other people, doing their own thing. And the conversation Isaiah wanted to have with Will was about dating seriously with exclusivity and commitment in mind. Dating can have many different meanings, but since they're gay men, I'm assuming it works differently than men and women dating. Usually when we say dating, like me, I mean that we're together and we're partners and we're exclusive. And then there's the dating that means you've just gone out with a person a few times. But from what I've seen from people that I know, dating in the gay community can mean many different things. Usually it doesn't mean exclusivity unless there is an actual conversation that's had. So I'm wondering if that's the type of conversation that Isaiah tried to have with William and then he just disappeared. Now, in saying this, my expectation is not that Isaiah is going to like be any weird way towards William. I think that he is going to just be himself and be open to William, kind of just keep all that previous stuff inside. I do wonder if they're ever going to have a conversation about it. And if they do have a conversation about it, I would really like that. As far as how things are going now, it's too early for me to want to pair the guys up. Any of the guys in the house, not just William and Isaiah, but I can't wait to see what the dynamics are like a little bit more. I do like the way that William and Isaiah talk together, but that's all I have to say about the Isaiah and William situation. You guys can give me your input on what you thought about that, and by now you guys have probably watched way more episodes than me because there should be more episodes coming out on the 21st or 22nd, so I don't know what's happening yet because I haven't watched it. Just a few disclaimers before I end this video. I am, as you can see, a Black woman, a Black American woman. I am not a Japanese person. And I'm also a straight woman, possibly queer, but we're working on that. My perspective is going to be completely different than somebody who is not any of those categories. Let's just say straight for now. And I want to put that disclaimer out here because it's mostly not for YouTube, it's for TikTok, because people will be like, well, you don't understand the perspective of da 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 da. And it's just like, yes, I don't, because I'm a Black American woman. Like, no, I'm not going to have the same perspective as a Japanese person. And if I need the perspective, I will ask for it. Like, there was something that happened in season 1 between two of the cast members that I really didn't like. It felt very coercive. There were people giving me their different perspectives, a lot of gay men giving different perspectives in the comment section. It was just really interesting how everybody had like different perspectives depending on like nationality, sexuality. There weren't just gay men telling me, hey, this is actually something that we do and it's normal. There were also some other gay men being like, hey, no, this was wrong. What you're watching and what you're saying actually rings true. Like, this is not okay. I was getting different perspectives and I was really appreciating it. So yeah, I'm just putting it out there. Always remember that this is going to be a review coming from my perspective, and I'm very much different than the cast that is in the show. And I will try my best to remain respectful. Even back then when I was talking about Dai and Shun, I feel like I was respectful. People were just obsessed with Shun for some reason. I really think a lot of it had to do with looks, but that's neither here or there. I'm gonna leave them alone. They're doing their own thing. They're not a spectacle now. If you want to go watch those videos, you can. I will actually, nah, I don't feel like linking my other TikTok, so you just had a lot.